Namaste, Angel. This is the Pisces full moon reading. We're very appropriately beginning with Major Arcana card 18, the moon. We're going to get started. So the moon represents the sign of Pisces directly. So this is really special that I promise you I shuffled these cards. And this is truly the card that ended up on top when I was done. But I think it's very special that we're beginning with this energy because the moon in the tarot does represent the sign of Pisces, although Earth's actual moon rules the sign of Cancer. Fellow water sign Cancer. And in this Rider-Waite card, at least for me, the energy of Scorpio is very prevalent with this lobster here. So all three water signs can be connected to this energy. But more importantly, when it shows up, it's saying that we're in a super like intuitive and psychic period and phase, and should definitely be paying attention to any intuitive messages, dreams, signs, synchronicities that you may come across. Also, it comes with a warning that all may not be what it seems. So it's a good time to dive or delve deeper into situations or circumstances or relationships about what you're not sure. But if you don't feel that you're able to truly like dive in and take a look rather than pop off, avoid like conflict and confrontation, particularly in love and relationship. It's very easy for something to become heated and then for people to say things that they don't mean but can't take back. Also, in a more general sense, if there's somebody, like not to walk around paranoid, but again, because all may not be as it seems, if there's somebody that you feel you probably can't trust, it's very possible that you can't. What else I want to say about the moon? Definitely with this particular moon, because it is in Pisces, ruled by Neptune, which is currently located there in the sign of Pisces, retrograde. It's really intense energy. So Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. That means it rules the 12th house, which is about endings. Full moons are also about endings. So I think that some things from our deepest depths and maybe, aspects of our past, like the deepest things that to our core affect us, whether it is in relationships or how we grew up, a living condition, our relationship with money or whatever, something's going to come up or is very likely to come up in one of those issues that that cycle will end like for good. For good. So again, we're beginning with the moon. I'm going to shuffle, begin first opening to the Five of Pentacles. And I'm laughing to myself because I had shuffled these cards already and then forgotten that I did. So I found myself shuffling them again, but I think that the second card was the Five of Pentacles then too. So I guess it was like determined to show up here. Also the Eight of Swords in reverse. So the Five of Pentacles for me is a card that is more so about fear of lack than actual lack. And like this, we just saw the Eight of Swords in reverse. So it's like trying to break free of a situation or a feeling of being stuck or of a fear. And then, we come to the Nine of Swords, which is about being like, having anxiety, being worried, unable to sleep even. For some, it could mean being in need of actual rest. All right, so now that one has flipped over too. And then we have the Four of Swords in reverse, which is about rest too. So I think this is it's the cards are right now, as we're shuffling, telling us that this is also a major period of awakening, right? Because all of the cards about needing rest are in reverse. And then also a period of abundance with the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles showed up in both the love and general readings as well. And then opposite, the Devil, I think really means something too, because we have the Devil here in reverse also. So his power and influence over us is also diminished, similar to the Eight of Swords in reverse, the Nine of Swords in reverse. So breaking free of any fears or anything that we had there. I'll do one more. And look what it is. So positive. Okay. Major Arcana card 8, which the number is significant to me too. And maybe to many of you. The card most directly relates to the sign of Leo. which of course was the sign in which the sun was located prior to where it is now, Virgo. And plenty of planets and celestial bodies were also located there in Leo. And actually, I think during this period between the two moons, so this full moon and the new moon to come, the Virgo new moon, I believe Venus actually enters Leo during this period, if I remember correctly. We'll go over, those of you who want to stick with me after the reading, we'll go over the planetary calendar and what happens during the period after, because I didn't mean to. I'm usually, before my full moon reading, I'll read something from the almanac and we'll go over the calendar then. But for the other readings this week, because I didn't really have anything to talk, well, the only other one that I talk in is the general. The love reading I don't. But for the general this week, I did like the calendar and stuff at the end. So I accidentally did that again, or I didn't prepare to read, and I didn't realize until right now. So I'll log in quickly after this reading and we'll go over that. So anyway, our overall energy is now the Eight of Cups. It's a very spiritual time. Again, like I said, the cards were already trying to tell us a time of awakening, very deep awakening. And I think this is reflective of that. And we could be leaving something behind for good, walking away from something, even if it's like a philosophy, rather than something tangible and physical, like a relationship or a home or a living condition or a job. It could be just only spiritual or only emotional. I'm leaving those negative emotions behind and moving on to something more positive. And upright behind it is the Ace of Cups, which if and when, I'm going to say when, you watch my other readings, you will see that this, after I shuffled, is the card that ended up either second or third in every other reading that I did this weekend. So it's telling us leaving something that wasn't necessarily conducive to our growth, or we're finished with that cycle, so we got what we could out of it, and then on to bigger and better things, which could be a relationship, a brand new one, could be reconciling an old one. We've seen a lot of evidence of that too in the other readings. Could be a new home, a new living condition, a new job, something that you feel is fulfilling, like you've committed your life to some real, humanitarian work, or work that is important and vital to the planet and to the world, or at least to you, like you feel fulfilled by it in an emotional way. Something with a family member, maybe healing of a relationship, because we also talked about that yesterday with Mercury entering Libra, which is ruled by Venus this week on the 5th. And the Ace of Cups is just about emotional fulfillment, basically in any and every area of your life. Let's see what else, if anything else is upright. And it is the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles is about leaving things behind, at least for me. Like I know a lot of people say, oh, you're holding on too tightly to something. Yeah, it could be that. And they often say to a person or to a relationship, yeah, it could be that. Or I guess even the way I interpret it, it is that. But I take it the step further where I see the next step. Whereas, I can, when I see this card, I can see that the person that's holding on to whatever they're holding on to, whether it's an energy or again, something physical, it's making them unhappy. They're holding on to this thing because they think that that's the right thing to do, the right way to live, or, that works for them. It's convenient, better to, keep around the devil, rather than introduce yourself to something new, right? And take a risk. But they're extremely unhappy in doing that. So whether it is a job or a relationship or some sort of feeling, ideology, emotions, it's time to move on from that. So happy to see these other cards in front of it. And then once you make that decision to do that, don't worry yourself about what other people might think or feel or whatever. This is about, and it may sound selfish, maybe that's the Leo aspect of it. We can look at that Leo trait as negative or positive. When it's in a healthy balance, it's super positive to have, to have that ability to put yourself first, and to be a little bit, self-centered, you know, again, and with healthy balance, like a Leo. This is, I'm making a decision that's best for me, that my gut is telling me to make, that my heart is telling me to make, that my intuition is telling me to make, whatever. It's best for me, and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to stand my ground. And that's the last one that is upright. The next card, as you can see, is the High Priestess in reverse, Major Arcana card 2, like the Gemini symbol, and she is in fact a Gemini, particularly for me, and can sometimes also be read as a water sign in the tarot. Super, super intuitive as well. Also very smart, wise, intelligent, good communicator, fair, balanced, diplomatic, able to look at all sides of perspectives of a situation and try to be, you know, genuinely fair about what's right and what's best. And this is what we can try to do. When she's in reverse like this, it can be about like, kind of like, you know, like body dysmorphia, you know, that condition when you look in the mirror and you see yourself like hideous or fat or too skinny or whatever. And everybody else says, what are you talking about? Like, you're gorgeous, you're fine, you're, you know, but you don't see it. So it can be that in a literal, like physical way, or in other aspects of your life where you're so wonderful, you're so awesome, and you're not necessarily recognizing it and using those powers to your best ability and service, but other people see it. That can be what it means when the High Priestess is in reverse. All right, so now I'm going to, let me pull out the stands. All right, I think that will be in frame, but we'll check again in a second. So I'm going to pull one card for each like sector of our lives. The card that's most directly representing us over this period through the 16th of September, I think it should be, before the new moon in Virgo. Knight of Swords in reverse, most directly representing us. Which is Virgo's ruler, by the way. And the surrounding energy, the card most directly representing the surrounding energy. So our closest friends, family members, could be some of our own energy too, co-workers or things going on at our work. Page of Wands, upright. Page of Wands has been showing up all weekend too in all of my readings. Our finances and work. The Hierophant. Somebody could be getting a new job, contract, or something with the government. And last but not least, love and relationship. Temperance in reverse. And again, the overall energy is the Eight of Cups. I just want to move this back here for 1 second, even though I just went through all of that trouble to make sure everything was in frame, because I want to do the same thing with Past Life Oracle, as I did last month. So I want to get these shuffled in front of you, although I've shuffled them myself before the reading and prayed over them and meditated with them and stuff. And it's karmic relationship. So this could be any number of things. I know that in this community, those of you who consider yourself divine beings, or to be in spiritually based relationships, divine unions, twin flame relationships, many of you, you know, like this community has sort of turned karmic into a derogatory term. You see here on this picture, these are, it's a karmic relationship, but see how in love they look, right? We don't use it that way. We use it to mean, well, not me, but we as a community, I mean, use it to mean, to refer to the like other man or other woman, you know, the karmic. But really karmic just means like of the universe, as in something that is destined, that is not dependent on man or our free will or any of that. It's of the universe, and it contains a lesson for us to use. So even those divine unions that we consider ourselves to be in, or if we consider ourselves to be divine beings, some of the things through which we go is karmic in a, not necessarily a negative sense. So this is about our relationship, those relationships pretty much with anything, with other people, different situations in our life. Also upright behind it is finances. So it could be a karmic relationship with money. Something, some sort of phase with finances and or money or material wealth or abundance is likely coming to an end with this period. It could be a phase of not having any money. It could be a phase of being really abundant, and maybe you're going to enter some sort of downturn. Not that you're going to go broke, but you know, you won't be earning as quickly maybe or as much as you had been. Or as I saw in the general reading, I think it was, or maybe the love reading, I'm not sure anymore. For the water signs, because I picked a card for each element, and for the water signs, their card was the King of Pentacles upright. And I said this was very likely somebody who had previously focused more so on their finances and their work and their security and their family's well-being, you know, a stable household than their own personal spirituality and stuff. And that now was this period of awakening, as if, which I mentioned a few moments ago too, for them and for all of us, and they were going to be seeking to become more spiritual. So it could be that, like the karmic relationship with money, where that was your focus, your primary focus, coming to an end, and you're opening yourself up to other things. Also up right behind this is Native American. So it could be opening yourself up not only to other things, but your origins. Understand we're not all Native American, although I am a quarter. Well, probably more than a quarter, because my mother's half, but through her father, but through her mother, she's also, my mother's half Cherokee through her father, but through her mother, she's also part Catawba. I don't know how much, but I know that the chief over there in Catawba Nation, South Carolina, by the Catawba River, was my grandmother's cousin. And actually my own father, so my paternal line, my grandparents also had like black feet. So I'm probably more than a quarter. In any case, when I say our origins, I'm respecting the fact that not everybody is Native American, although, you know, that is my origin, truly, in part. But in terms of like, whatever one's beginnings are in terms of the heritage and culture, and like getting back to some of these original ways of indigenous people in general and at large, you know, the practices, the traditions, the medicines, and the way that they aid and all of this. And maybe in terms of money, in terms of finances, right? So a lot of stuff was community based, was tribal. And we had community spaces that were shared, and we paid each other in barter, not necessarily money. So something like that. And the next card is in reverse. So I'll stop there and give these a shuffle. Opening first to High Priest or Priestess. And she was in reverse, just like the High Priestess was from the Rider-Waite deck a moment ago. I'll leave her in reverse. Okay? I shouldn't have turned her over. Now she's upright. Father. So someone's relationship with their father or father figure, or oneself as a father or father figure. Something could be coming up in that capacity. Or maybe it's talking about God, the universe. Medicine man or woman. I was just talking about this in connection to the indigenous traditions and healing, holistic healing and things. Medicine man or woman. Okay, something else wants to come out. Trust and faith. Trust and faith. It was upside down also. I mean, there's no reversals in this deck, but I'm just showing you how it was. You know, so it's possible that our trust and faith are sort of like upside down right now. Again, remember I said we might not know what to believe. Did I mention that with the moon? Yes, we might not know what to believe in terms of the moon energy. What's reality? What's sort of illusion? So where you do hold a belief, it's important for you to be like steadfast and to, you know, truly hold on to it and not let confusing energy, you know, dissuade you from what it is you believe in. But also not to be persuaded to believe in something that's bogus because you're ignoring your intuition and stuff. Also scribe or writer, which could be literal. Again, I mentioned during this period, Mercury enters fellow air sign Libra, Mercury, the communication planet, planet of logic. And I think I'll end on ships, which could be about actual travel. Also saw a lot of travel in the readings that I've been doing this weekend. And if it's not travel, it's like movement. Think of it like a chariot card. Movement and or moving. Literal or metaphoric. Progress, victory even. In the situation. And that brings us to a new overall energy of Asia and monk or nun. So very possibly, this is talking about a past life as a Tibetan monk or something, or maybe a Buddhist, and some sort of vows, maybe to which we committed in another lifetime that are holding us back now. So first I'll give the general meaning of, I think, the Rider-Waite cards, and then I will add these meanings too. Let's actually get these better in frame first. Again. Okay. So, beginning with our overall energy of the Eight of Cups. Again, this is a card that means that, the best lies ahead for you. You are walking away from something or leaving something behind, or something has come to a natural and organic end, not to be repeated. And you're just moving on into the next phase of your life. So it's a very transitional and transformational energy that you should just allow to happen. It's also very possibly about seeking a deeper sense of spirituality. So the way that I'm reading these cards, if I wasn't clear, is that these themes could be things that come up for you in specific areas or aspects of your life over the next couple weeks from your past and or a past life that are coming up to be completed. Karmic completion. All right, so that's why the overall energy is so wonderful and appropriate, because it is about leaving things behind, like in the past. But spiritually, specifically, the Eight of Cups is about needing alone time potentially. And this also is a theme that came up repeatedly in all the readings that I did this weekend. So if that does happen, it comes up in your life that you need time alone, take it. Don't be hesitant to take it. Don't be embarrassed to take it. And that can mean anything. It can mean like you're taking time to go for a walk, or it can mean you're going on vacation, like by yourself. Who knows? But you'll find the wisdom that you're seeking, the clarity, the enlightenment that you're seeking, the depth, sitting in silence, just listening and being still. And I talked about this last week too. That voice, that small voice inside, being able to hear it and listening to it. So moving on to the card that's the overall energy or theme. The card that's going to most directly sort of represent what we're going through in our energy is the Knight of Swords in reverse. The Knight of Swords may be an actual person that is significant, impactful upon your life during this period. Could be Mercury himself as well. Could be Venus herself. Venus is currently located in Cancer. It is her most loving placement. And she is moving, like I said, during this period, moving into Leo, which is about communication. And since she's about love, it'll be about love languages and communication there. Mercury, during this period and this week even, on the 5th, enters, is the ruler of Virgo and Gemini first and foremost, and enters fellow air sign to Gemini, Libra, on the 5th of September. And that is a really good placement for Mercury too, because it's all about balance in communication and in, our thinking, logical thinking. So it helps us to start and create and to restore relationships where we've had differences and stuff. So that could be Mercury or Venus or a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius in your life, or someone likened to those traits or attributes if it's not an actual air sign. Or in a general sense, this card can be about travel, which I've mentioned a lot already in seeing it through other cards and feeling it through other energies. It could be coming up again. There may be some delay with the travel, Or it could be, since we're talking about past lives and or our past as well, it can be like, this is like a long time coming. Like it's delayed. Like we should have been done this, visited this person or had them visit us or visited these places, maybe something like Asia, if you're able to do that. Also, this card can be about the need to be careful or cautious with information and information sharing. Emails like may not be secure. Your telephone conversations may be overheard. Maybe you send the text to the wrong person or somebody who's not meant to see it does. Somebody's listening in on a Zoom call. You don't realize that they've joined and you're talking about them when they join the meeting. Everybody else is there. That sort of thing. Or something posted online maybe that you thought was going to be only shared with your friends. Somebody takes a screenshot and shares it with the general public. I don't know. I'm not saying those specific things are going to come up, but I'm trying to give you an idea. And if they do, they'll likely be tied again to something from your past that will bring something to probably be a very quick end, because the Knight of Swords in the general sense is a very fast moving energy. In terms of love, it could say, keep your eyes open, be open to it, because something could be, again, coming in very, very quickly. If you're already in a relationship, believe it or not, the Knight of Swords is very often about a deepening of relationships. Someone you meet could try very, very hard to impress you. And you got to be careful to not be too air signy and to, be unimpressed and automatically think them a loser. It could just be that they like you so much that they're trying too hard. So consider giving someone that does this a second chance. In terms of money and finances and work, somebody could try to trick you out of some money or cause you to pay for something that you shouldn't pay for, or pay more than something is worth. Be careful of, again, fast people, especially fast talkers. Right? Air signs are about communication and talking and stuff, so and speediness. Be careful of fast talkers. And then getting back into the spiritual stuff, it's about evaluating and weighing spiritual information into which we come. So I don't know, take a reading where the person isn't, isn't shuffling in front of you, or isn't giving you a full meaning of the card or whatever, or is working with, like some people that you see their face and you see their body, but the cards are supposedly under some table. We don't know how long they've been under there, or if they got notes, or what, maybe they don't really know what they're doing. Maybe everything's written down, and maybe they do. Maybe they do know what they're doing. Maybe everything's fine, but this can be about you weighing the information. And it can be maybe something coming from a church or some other sort of temple or, preacher or something. You got to decide and discern, regardless of the source. It could be a book too, something in writing, or something posted on the internet that's bogus, whatever. It can be easy to become confused or, again, illusioned during this period in time. So absorb information, take it in, think about it, take some time to figure out how you feel about it. Moving on to the surrounding energy, very beautiful surrounding energy, the Page of Wands. This is also potentially a person in your life, an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes, maybe younger than you. Your child or a younger partner or friend or something. So again, somebody at the job, if they're an actual person. This can also be about travel, this card, because wands are about movement and action and travel. But it can also be about something that you started a long time ago in your past is finally going to come to fruition, whether it's a relationship or a job or a project, or a move. You applied for this apartment years ago. I remember I heard about this apartment one time. I didn't even remember when I had applied. I was like, when did I ask to live there? I got this thing in the mail completely at random, but something like that could happen. And maybe you want it. I remember my friend last year, she finally got what's it called when you get that voucher? Section 8. She finally got a Section 8 voucher. And it came like right on time because she was on unemployment at the time. But she'd applied years prior, but she was finally able to move out with her 2 daughters and stuff like that out of her family home and so something like that could be happening for somebody too. Something that we began a long time ago. Maybe we applied for a job a long time ago or before COVID. Maybe that's in our past too, although it's not the distant past, it's in our past. So we applied for this job before COVID, and then COVID happens and the job is closed. Right? Well, what happens to me? You just hired me. Maybe now, with things reopening, is when that phase of your life of you being unable to work there is going to come to an end, and you're going to get to start that job. It can also show a need like for new things in your life, new ideas, new approaches, new adventures, new excitement. The Page of Wands brings super positive energy to us, but we need to take action. Remember I said wands are about action. We need to follow through on what it brings us. So that's that. Finances, health, love, spirituality, everything on an upswing, an uptick, deepening, strengthening, everything getting better with the Page of Wands. Also, if you're single, you may be in line to meet somebody new with whom you have so much in common, right? This is like a real match for you. You're adventuresome and like to get out and do stuff. They're the same way. It may be like you met your twin. Take a chance on this person if you're available. If you're committed and happy, of course, you probably just let the opportunity pass, and I'm sure that's for the best. Go ahead and do that. But if you're committed and unhappy, this card can also be an indication of if it being time for you to, figure out if this relationship is, the relationship that you're in is worth saving and moving forward with, or not. And of course, you're going to have to talk to your partner about that, because both people have to be willing to go for it. But people that are happy, or people that are, newly meeting somebody or something, or somebody returning from your past, very possibly also getting just lots of messages and energy, feelings of love and affection coming towards you, which is awesome. Our work and finances. Major Arcana card 5, the Hierophant. I'm just noticing that this is all up like a panel of characters. This was air signs, this is fire signs, and the Hierophant is most directly a Taurus. Taurus, which is ruled, in which Aquarius's ruler, Uranus, is located and has been for some time. And I'm mentioning that because the next card is Temperance. And although Temperance represents the sign of Sagittarius in the tarot, it always gives me Aquarius feels, because to me, this is very clearly a water bearer that's on the front of the card. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys had noticed that I had paused a moment ago and I wasn't saying anything. It's because I was sort of stunned for a second. I see my painting that was right over there on the floor. Now, you probably didn't see it fall because of the cards are in the way, but I didn't see it fall either. And I can see that area. I didn't see nor hear it, so it's bothering me. Let me just pick it up. And where it landed in relation to having fallen is weird too, because it sort of fell to the left of me as opposed to behind the table or anything. All right, so back to the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is another one of these very, very spiritual cards. Can, in a general sense, for me, have to do with the people, places, and things with which we surround ourselves, and a need for us to make adjustments to that so that it better aligns with our vibration as we continue to ascend and grow in a spiritual sense. But specific to work, it can say that a teacher or mentor of some sort, or someone that you have sort of been needing in your life appears now. And it could also mean that you could be called upon to be this person to someone else, perhaps. It's a good time to get involved in groups, or maybe to collaborate, as part of a team effort, maybe at work or something. So if you have an opportunity to do that, definitely step up and join in on that. there you'll have a lot to learn from these other people, and perhaps they you in a positive sense. Don't think anything negatively about this. Maybe some of you will get to go to some sort of formal training through work. Your job will send you. Maybe that's what the travel is about in one of these. The wands can often be about work travel specifically too. Job may send you for some sort of training, some sort of learning, or maybe back to school. Maybe they're going to pay for you to go to school. Another friend of mine works for the federal government, and he just announced that he's on some of the same like committees and stuff that I'm on, and he just announced that he needs to sort of step back. 'Cause actually, he was chairing one, and he's like, I got to step back because his job is going to pay for his masters. That he just got approved or selected or whatever it is. So it could be something like that. Also, in terms of finances specifically, this is not the time to be non-traditional with your finances. The Hierophant is also very much about tradition. So the traditional ways of handling your money, seeking the advice of professional, financial advisors, if you have that much, or brokers, bankers. Where's the best place to put your money? It's a good time for investments, but if you're not that's not your forte, then definitely speaking to somebody who could help you to make those investments. And they should probably be traditional too, as in something that's fairly conservative and stable. Maybe like well, there are stocks that are fairly conservative too, but bonds maybe considered more conservative. Cash could certainly be considered more conservative than those mutual funds and things like that. So you may want to get into that. I think that's all I have to say about work. But something also contractual could be coming up too. So maybe you could be signing a new contract. And it might be something from a long time ago. Like, again, you're finally getting to get that promotion. You're finally getting to get that bonus. I actually applied for, it's a voluntary position, but it's an appointment, a government appointment. And I applied, and I don't think it was personal to me. I just didn't hear anything for years. And I recently did hear that I have been appointed to this, body. So it could be something like that too. And it does come with a stipend. It's not a work, it's still volunteer, but it does come with some sort of money. So that would be like in my financial sector. So something like that for somebody else too. Or so for some more of you could definitely be coming up. And so moving into love and relationship with Temperance. This too is a positive card, even in reverse. Again, and most directly in the tarot represents the sign of Sagittarius, but for me is very much Aquarius energy as well. It can mean that you may be receiving, but possibly ignoring, very good constructive criticism that could be like super helpful to you right now. It's important that you look or take a deeper look at your own personal issues. And again, this transit specifically, and this moon, this Pisces moon ruled by Neptune, is all about our depths. So it's definitely taking a deeper look at your personal issues to see if, and if so, how these things in your personal life are standing in the way of your relationships and your potential love life. And if they are, how can you go about working through them, to resolve these problems? So this is very funny. Right before doing this reading, I was talking to a friend that I met on this journey / client / viewer, subscriber. And she revealed, I don't know if we've ever talked about this before or not. I don't think we had, but she revealed that she wasn't legally divorced yet, or she's still legally married to an ex with whom she hasn't been for several years. It was close to a decade. And I said, you gotta, and she said, well, things keep popping up. When she goes to get the divorce, she ends up having to spend money on something else. And I said, you are probably going to have to figure out how the next time the money's in your hand, you can prioritize yourself. And this, very important process in your life, because the universe or God is not going to take our free will choices from us, So it's not going to take this opportunity from you to decide whether or not you're going to free yourself from this old partner or not. That's up to you. You can choose to remain linked, or you can choose to set yourself free. And in doing that, she herself actually said, and it's part of the conversation, that she felt that it was probably holding her back in her relationship with her divine masculine. And I just said, I agree. But that's the kind of thing. Like, what is going on with you on a personal level, in a personal sense, and maybe has been going on with you for several years perhaps, or something from your past that could pop up and creep up now that would block you, or is blocking you, has been blocking you from the love and relationship that you're otherwise meant to have, and figuring that out. So that's what we got to contend with. Now I'm going to match it up with these other cards from the past life deck. So again, with an overall energy of Asia, the card most directly relating to us over this period, Atlantis. So another place. Atlantis, and connected to the Knight of Swords in reverse, which is very much about travel. This could be maybe some sort of astral travel that some of us will experience. So maybe you're not taking a trip in the physical sense, on a physical plane, but on an alternate plane of existence and dimension, you are traveling, maybe in your dreams, to Atlantis, and maybe remembering in your dreams your connection to it. So you might want to keep like paper or whatever by your bed, but also, I've been seeing signs that some of us will experience a lot more visions while we're awake, even if we've never experienced that before. We'll get maybe more into Atlantis in a second. Moving on to the energy surrounding us most directly, galactic. This card came up in the last reading that I did in this type, in this manner, which I think was that the Leo new moon? I think so. And I talked about the us needing to sort of find where and with whom we belong, members of our tribe. So again, this traveling, this can be you traveling maybe to get together with people, or even a person, even if it's one person, maybe a soulmate, again, a divine partner, twin flame, that would be a member of your tribe, certainly, and traveling to see them or to meet them or having them to connect with you in some way. And again, maybe it's part of this travel, this travel that you're doing, which is more on another plane of existence. So work and finance, the card is leaving or traveling. Again, somebody could be leaving to go on some sort of like work training, or to learn something more, or leaving for school, going away to school to, practice what you need or learn what you need for your career. Or again, could be about leaving behind one, relationship with money for another, or with finances, with work, perhaps too. And last but not least, we have angels for love and relationship. And I think this really could be speaking to divinity in our relationships, sacred union and sacred connection in our relationships, definitely coming up over this period. So with our overall energy of Asia, for example, it's about the lessons and things that we learned from the past life also, and very much about balance. There's a lot that goes into Asian culture that is about maintaining balance. And I hadn't thought about it earlier. So is Temperance very much about balance, and so is Mercury in Libra, which again falls into this period. So I'm just getting the message now that that may very well be another takeaway with this Asia. And like, for example, in a past life, You may have been somebody who held all their emotions in, right? Or who held their tongue, period. Remember monk or nun? That's what was behind this, right? So they take a vow of silence a lot of the time. Maybe you were used to holding stuff in. Well, in this lifetime, is what this is saying, it's going to be super important for you to speak your truth. It's like finding balance between past lifetime and present to break that cycle and to complete that karmic cycle. So we're being guided right now to be open, be empowered. Be empowered. That's the word I'm looking for. Enough to express our beliefs and our feelings openly, with loved ones and members of our tribe, our circle, our family. And that's going to deepen our relationships. It's going to, of all kinds. We're not talking specifically romantic. Of course, there could be something to the place also. Some of us may have a fascination with Asian culture. I know my daughter does. When she was little, my Sagittarius actually, when she was little, very much taken with Egypt and drawing like calligraphy, like the hieroglyphics and stuff like that. She still went into art, but when she got a little older, maybe around middle school, it switched from Egyptian culture to Asian culture, very heavily Japanese. She even speaks Japanese, but she's also into like Korean and Vietnamese and all that kind of stuff, like pretty much Asian culture, period. So why am I saying all this? That kind of fascination, I was trying to avoid using the word obsession, with Asian culture would stem from a love and respect and adoration of the places that you visited there, or wherever time you spent there, and the people that you met there in a past lifetime. So it's good for people like her, and like some of you may be, if you're like this, if you get the opportunity to actually visit these lands, to do that, to connect with like the ancient parts of yourself. And it's funny, speaking of, just this week, I called a travel agent to help my daughter to start to plan a trip for, in the future, to Japan. So maybe others of you will be doing that as well. I actually think that in some respects, this could be referring to the national stage and even the Asia, when I think about it in terms of Native American, it could be about Indians, and maybe something going on with Indians, i.e. like Kamala Harris, maybe with the caste system, with racial tensions on a national scale, and then bringing that also to the point of Atlantis. The president, so-called president, as I like to call him, is a Gemini. So we have this air energy, first and foremost, connected to the Atlantis energy. And I say this because Atlantis, for the most part, the people were, peace-loving. It was a utopia. It was, just a paradise, right? But there were some people who misuse power to the detriment of all, right? And just ruined it for everybody, that God destroyed the place. And, people perished. And now we live like this when we had a wonderful life in our past life, because of corruption, political corruption, basically. And so I think that this could be tied to something maybe involving the president, who again is a Gemini. I'm saying this because he's a Gemini, not necessarily because he's corrupt, although I personally believe that. I know not everybody does. But because he's a Gemini, and this is the Knight of Swords, that something could be coming up involving him and political corruption during this period also. But more specifically to us, again, we remember this utopia, we remember this paradise and this idyllic, civilization and way of living, and we long for it. We long for peace and the new earth and all of this sort of thing. And I think we may be visiting some of those places in our dreams, and in visions and things in the coming weeks. Also, remembering like the tragic end to Atlantis, that could have caused some of the phobias that maybe some of us have in our life, maybe involving the water or the ocean. And maybe we love the sea, maybe we love fish, but at the same time, we don't want to go sailing. We don't want to go on a cruise. We don't want to go swimming. We're afraid of the water, maybe, stuff like that. And so maybe somebody is dealing with some phobias too in that regard. Or you're traveling someplace where there's water. Do you want to go swimming? Are you going to take on some of those? Are you going to break that, face that phobia and take it on and maybe go ahead and go on a cruise or jump into a pool and, on a trip to the Caribbean or something like that? Similarly, I explained in the last reading, again, where I used these cards, I'm pretty sure it was the Leo New Moon reading, that when Galactic comes up, it's talking about the fact that many of us feel like that just humans at large are violent for the most part. And we're just uncomfortable here with these people, and we're looking for other starseeds, other star girls, other star boys to be around, because we don't feel at home here. We don't feel comfortable. We feel under attack, and we feel somewhat helpless in protecting others who are under attack. And so there's a real desire, like a burning desire, when this card shows up, to find your tribe. And that also could be connecting to Indians and Asia and Native American. So we'll be doing some of that again this period too, I think. Leaving or travel says that in a past life, or perhaps in our past here, some of these cards can apply to our past in this lifetime too. We could have been impacted, for example, by a partner having left us, or by us leaving a partner, maybe who was into travel, and maybe that's why we couldn't take it anymore. Actually, my own life, my ex-husband, my children's father, was like a nomad. Like he was always going off. And we even had our charts done, because we're both Geminis, very, very close. He's a year younger, almost a full year younger, but he's 6'10" and I'm 6'13". So you might think that we're the same kind of Gemini. He's second deacon, I'm third though. Like that 3 days makes a difference, or that 57 days, I should say, right? Or whatever it is, 362 days, I should say, difference between our ages. But in the charts, when we had our charts read years ago, the person said to me, he needs to travel the world and you need to save it. That's what your charts say. And so ultimately, I couldn't stay married to somebody that always had to be gone. But I wasn't supposed to, obviously. I was supposed to end up with somebody else, and I guess he is too. But my point is, some others of us may have experienced something similar. And if not in this lifetime, perhaps in a past lifetime that's affecting you now. And it's sort of like why you have difficulty sort of being or getting settled. And in a positive sense, or from a positive standpoint, it could lead to you in terms of work, finding work or ending up in work where you do a lot of traveling, or where you get to do a lot of traveling, which is good because you enjoy that. Or maybe to the contrary, where you get to avoid traveling because you're not interested, and just finding some place where you feel comfortable in terms of work. And then, of course, the other meanings that I already gave. Some of you could be going away in some capacity for training or schooling or something. And that takes us to the last one, love and relationships and angels. For one thing, it says that the archangels, Michael, for example, the angel of courage, strength, and protection. Raphael, the angel of physical and emotional healing. Financial as well. Really all healing. I'm just giving you like the titles, the names that they associate with them. Raziel, the angel of God's secrets and mysteries. So that which is sacred, right? They'll help anyone who calls upon them. So we got to remember that. And the help is unlimited, and it's not tied to any one religion or denomination or anything. It's completely non-denominational, like me as a pastor, as a preacher. And they can be with everyone simultaneously. If I'm using them, you can still use them at the same time. I'm offering, this love and help in our romantic relationships. So that's one thing. But also, when this card shows up, it says that, we ourselves may have functioned as an angel in heaven, or maybe we're perhaps an angel right now, an earth angel. And sent here, with a healing purpose. I think this is very much describing and is tied to what we know as twin flames or divine unions, divine beings who are sent here to heal the world with love. So I'm really loving that this card showed up here. Also, it's a sign from your guardian angels who are said to be with us, our entire soul's history. So they know all this past life stuff. They know everything through which we've been. And they work with us to review the lessons that we learn and to help us to move on to the next phase in lifetime. So I think that's why they're here in our love and relationship sector. Again, this is going to be a period because of Mercury and Libra where we are really making strides in bringing balance to that, and to our relationships, and healing and restoring them, and making, creating new ones with people that are healthy, unlike maybe some that we had experienced in the past. So now I'm also introducing advice from the Angel Tarot and the Animal Tarot as well, with an overall energy on these decks of Major Arcana card 0, the Dreamer, which in this deck in particular, for me, has always represented the planet Mercury, again, which I'm talking about right now, entering Libra, ruler of the signs of Gemini and Virgo. A leap of faith, follow your dreams. That leads to unexpected opportunities. This Major Arcana card 0 is essentially the Fool in the traditional tarot, all about that leap of faith, taking a chance on something, on yourself. Right behind it, also upright, is the 9 of Pentacles, enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, which we also talked about, maybe, spending some time being still, and successful self-employment. Maybe your job is going to allow for travel because you're going to be the boss. Also upright behind that, Major Arcana card 12, Awakening, with Archangel Gabriel. Speaking of archangels, Awakening is actually the Hangman in the traditional tarot. It represents the sign of Pisces, where this moon is going to be located. Look at things in a different perspective. You're at a temporary standstill. It's important to be yourself. That means it's important to be honest with yourself about your dreams and your wishes and what it is you want out of your life, so that when time does pick up and start moving again, you can apply that, and start to seek it. And take action, like the Page of Wands says we have to do, and go after it. Also upright behind that, Major Arcana card 16, Life Experience, otherwise known as the Tower in the traditional tarot. It doesn't have to be a bad card. Some people get frightened by the Tower. I do not. It can often be about an actual tower, like a building, a structure, a home or something. This could be a change to your living condition for the better, right? An end to what you had been experiencing, and a new positive. Remember, the best is yet to come. Our overall energy of the 8 of Cups. So you're moving on to something better. Important changes are coming to your life that will require you to take action. Again, just like the Page of Wands says, don't hesitate to move in new directions that you know are right for you. To move, right? Also upright behind that, the King of Swords. Brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Again, possibly Mercury himself or Venus herself, or Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice and balance mental and emotional considerations. So we talked about seeking out professional advice, things like a banker, a stockbroker, all that kind of stuff. Also speaking your mind with confidence, speaking your truth, talking about Atlantis. And the King of Swords is also super diplomatic and fair and balanced, and trying to work out situations. So this is conflict resolution also, and is known for saying what he means and meaning what he says. If you're in a relationship, a romantic relationship in particular with the King of Swords, do not try to change him. Do not expect to be able to ever change him. You have to accept him, love him as he is, or leave him alone. That's the kind of person that he is, right? Also upright, and this is the last one, is the Knight of Fire, Knight of Wands. Passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. Also potentially about travel and movement and taking action. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence. Think things through carefully. The next card was the Two of Wands, which is the Divine Union or Twin Flame card of the Tarot, but it was in reverse. Don't let that worry you, though. I'm just mentioning that it was in reverse because that's why I stopped with the cards. But the Two of Wands in reverse is a wonderful card as it relates to love and relationship too. It's in partnership. It is about being swept off your feet. So to those of you who identify with the masculine archetype, you consider yourself a masculine archetype, your card from the Animal Tarot is the Two of Swords. This is about you knowing a decision, having an answer in your heart and your soul, but being hesitant to make the decision and take action because you're worried about what other people will think or say, or maybe society. Procrastination and worrying about what others will think is blocking you from making a decision. If you're torn between your own desires and someone else's, follow your inner guidance. For those of you who consider yourself feminine, it's another Seven of Wands. Be assertive, believe in yourself, and don't let anyone take away your personal power. Trust that your inner guidance is true and follow it completely. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine, the Queen of Wands. Confident, warm, intelligent, and graceful. Stretch your wings and fly. Some of you may be taking an airplane wherever you're traveling to. Don't underestimate yourself. This is about having confidence. Assert your independence and creativity. She is an Aries, Leo, a Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Maybe an actual person in your life. Feminine, we got to let go of this fear, phobia. Right, that's what I was talking about here with the Atlantis. Expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, and sleepless nights. Definitely want to avoid that. We also saw the Nine of Swords when I was shuffling. Remember in the beginning when I shuffled the Rider-Waite deck. Lastly, for the masculine from the Past Life deck, it is lessons and blessings. So having learned the lesson, reaping the benefits of the rewards now. Moving on to the next phase of our life. And feminine vows. So just like I talked about monk and nun, some of us may have taken, some sort of vows, celibacy, silence, poverty, that are getting in the way and blocking us now. You're going to want to work on releasing those energies. And then more positively, maybe a vow of marriage. And this isn't talking about you, again, connecting with a divine or sacred partner or twin flame relationship. Hope you guys have enjoyed the moon reading. For those of you who have enjoyed the moon reading and are ready to get out of here and leave me alone if you haven't left already, please do hit the like button before you do. For the rest of you, stick around. I'm going to quickly sign on to my laptop and let's go over the what else is going on in the celestial calendar. So yeah, those of you who were done with me, I appreciate you having been here too. Like, share, comment, subscribe by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. And the rest of you, I've just signed on. So my notes here for the planetary or celestial calendar during this period, beginning with the 2nd, when this moon is, right? So September 2nd, 1:22 a.m., we have the full moon in Pisces, 10 degrees Pisces. September 3rd at 2:12 p.m., Saturn will be quincux the true node. The true node is Gemini, actually. Saturn will be 25 degrees Capricorn, and the true north node will be 25 degrees Gemini. September 5th at 7:53 a.m., Uranus, so the ruler of Aquarius, which is located in Taurus, will be semi-square the true node. So Uranus will be at 10 degrees Taurus, and the true node will be 25 degrees Gemini. Also on September 5th at 3:46 p.m., Mercury enters Libra. Mercury, which I talked so much about that transit. Again, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini and Virgo, enters fellow air sign Libra. 0 degrees Mercury, 00 Libra. September 5th, again, 9:07 p.m., Pallas, the second largest asteroid, which is currently retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, along with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, goes direct, 12 degrees Capricorn. September 6th at 3:21 a.m., Venus, the planet and goddess of love and abundance, enters Leo, 0 degrees. September 9th, 6:22 p.m., Mars goes retrograde, 28 degrees Aries, which it rules. So Mars going retrograde in Aries, where Chiron is also located currently and retrograde as well. September 10th, 5:26 a.m., the quarter moon is what we'll experience, 18 degrees Gemini. September 12th, 8:41 p.m., Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius, again currently retrograde and located in Capricorn, goes direct, 17 degrees Capricorn. And lastly, September 7th at 7 a.m., the new moon in Virgo, 25 degrees Virgo. So also 7 a.m., 7 for the degree, or degrees, 25 degrees equaling 7 as well. And that's it. And from the full moon almanac, we have that this is called the full corn moon. And this year, start looking for September's full corn moon just after sunset on Tuesday, September 1st, as it rises high and reaches its peak illumination at 1:23 a.m. 1, 2, 3. That's cute, right? Which also equals 3, for those of you into numbers. Master number 33, representative of creativity, abundance, the ascended masters, and God, the creator. This is Eastern Standard Time. On when it peaks, 1:23 a.m. will be Wednesday, September 2nd, of course. The full moon that happens nearest to the autumnal equinox, September 22nd or 23rd, always takes on the name of harvest moon instead of a traditional name, a rule that often places the harvest moon in the month of September. However, when September's full moon occurs early in the month, the full moon of early October lands nearest the autumnal equinox and therefore takes on the harvest moon. So what they're saying is normally this would be the harvest moon, but it's not this year because the equinox isn't until the 22nd of September. So it's the corn moon. That's the case in 2020, when October will experience 2 full moons, one on October 1st, the harvest moon, and another on the 31st, the hunter's moon, which will be a blue moon, because when there are 2 full moons that occur in a month, that's what that means. Why is it called the corn moon? Historically, some Native Americans gave a name to each month's full moon, naming it in relation to a natural event or sign of the season. This aided them in the tracking of the progression of the year. Different peoples had different names reflecting the areas where they live. One such name for the September full moon was the full corn moon because it traditionally corresponded with the time of harvesting corn. In what is now the northeastern United States, it was also called the barley moon, as this is the time to harvest and thresh ripened barley. Other full moon names for this month include the moon when the plums are scarlet, and that's coined by the Lakota Sioux. Moon where the deer paw the earth, the Omaha, and moon when the calves grow hair, the Sioux. The tradition of naming moons is rich in history. Here at the Old Farmer's Almanac, we have a long honored tradition of using the Native American full moon names and folklore of those who came before us. We follow the full moon names that were used during Native American and colonial times to help to track the seasons, usually by the Algonquin people who were prominent along the Atlantic coast and into the interior along the St. Lawrence River and around the Great Lakes. And it goes on to talk about a full moon video and things. The best time for harvesting above ground crops for any of you that are farmers or something. The 17th, 24th, and 25th. Below ground crops, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Best days for canning and pickling, the 11th and 12th. And for fishing, September 17th through October 1st. Moon Facts and folklore. Usually the moon rises about 50 minutes later each day, but around the time of the autumnal equinox, it rises only 30 minutes later in the United States, even less in Canada. Frost occurring in the dark of the moon kills fruit buds and blossoms, but frost in the light of the moon will not. I'm going to leave you with the thought that an ear of corn has historically served as the foundation crop of American agriculture. I know that all my viewers aren't in America, but maybe you can get something from this too, though. It's also considered, corn that is, a symbol of unity, because corn is grown in every single state of this nation. Unlike many, many other things that have to have a certain particular climate or area in which they grow, corn is grown in every state. So it's something that has always, from that perspective, joined Americans in one large group. Unity. All right. On that note, I thank you again for joining me. And for those of you who remained to the very end, thank you so much. You enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button. Share if you don't mind. Right? Sharing is caring. Comment. I very consciously attempt to answer any and every comment that I receive that YouTube actually puts before me and shows me. And also subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. Consider becoming one by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. I appreciate it. Namaste.